Hello, beautiful people. So, are you straining yourself to be positive? I want to talk about spiritual awakening today and positivity because being positive can actually exhaust you if you're not lining up and aligning with your highest frequency first. So let's dive into this topic because I'm seeing all over social media, positive vibes only, high vibe tribe, be positive, positive messaging. I'm being positive. I try so hard to be positive. And so therein lies the little crux. I try so hard to be positive. So positivity should not be a trying thing. And I know firsthand about this because I used to do this all the time. I belonged to a mom's group a long time ago, and we were together for like 10 years. And a lot of them were going through kind of some hard stuff, and I was just starting to study Abraham Hicks and law of attraction stuff, and I wanted to just be around lightness and fun, and some of their hard stuff didn't feel like a fit anymore. But I wanted to be a supportive friend, so I just tried to be positive and draw positivity out of them. And the thing is, guys, there just wasn't any more alignment. They were going through some hard stuff, and it probably would have been in my best interest and their best interest if I would have walked away for a little while, maybe a few years, maybe let them get through some of their hard stuff and find their way. Instead, I kind of stayed there and tried to fix it or tried to be positive amongst some of the denser energy that was happening. And I remember coming home always feeling exhausted. I remember coming home and always getting into a fight somehow with my husband. My frequency just pummeled, and it just somehow wasn't working. And I want to bring up a term that Abraham Hicks talks about a lot: putting the happy face sticker on the empty gas tank. And a lot of times in the beginning, when I first started doing the Abraham Hicks work and the law of attraction stuff, and in a different phase of my spiritual awakening process, I would try to do that. I would try to be happy and just put the happy face on, while some of this other stuff was still smoldering and some of these judgments and points of view were really active, but I try to put the happy face sticker on. And so I love the tool of the emotional guidance system. It really helps us take a look at this a little deeper. So positivity and knowing and happiness and everything is on the top of the scale vibrationally. But there's down here, vibrationally, is anger, blame, shame, negativity, hopelessness, frustration, overwhelm. That's down here. Now, when we're positive and we're happy, here we are, and then we can get into a situation that might drop us down here. This is talking about vibrationally, vibrational increments in emotions. So when you're down here and you want to be back up here to positivity, there's a habit of thinking that we have to just be positive here, but we're still vibrationally here. So we got to close this gap. Okay, jumping up to here without slowly coming up can create that exhaustion I'm talking about. And I'm going to also feel like swimming upstream in a riptide. Okay, if you can get that visual there. Think about paddling upstream, right? So if you're trying to get to positivity and your vibration's a little low here, and you're trying to just go there, you're gonna be doing this. Now, if you are wanting to have a more easeful time with this, and you want to align yourself, you may have to do it in increments. I have found the fastest way for me to vibrationally align with my higher frequencies is through sound, but I will get to that later. But just working with this emotional guidance system, if you get the emotional ladder here, you can start to see that being in, say, frustration, and then going to overwhelm, then going to negativity, if you work your way up, then positivity won't feel exhaustion. You actually won't even have to really try, okay? So that's one way to look at it. I have a few other things to tell you about this, a few other tactics. So the emotional guidance system's a great way to work your way up incrementally so you naturally get to positivity and you don't feel like you're just, paddling upstream to it or putting the happy face sticker on the empty gas tank. So working with the little increments, and it doesn't have to take long. There's a really great book called Ask and It Is Given, and it's so cool. It has 22 processes that tells you how to deal with these vibrational gaps when you're feeling different emotions. So I highly recommend that, and I'll put that in the description there. And you can just Google emotional guidance scale and you'll find so many lists of them, pictures of them. Okay, so the other thing I want to talk about is the vibrational alignment through sound. So one of my voice mentors is Chloe Goodchild. She has a really good book called The Naked Voice. This book is so cool, and one quote that she talks about in it, and I don't have it verbatim, but she talks about voice being and vibration of voice being the quickest way to shift energy. And I have been experimenting with this the past few years, and I have to say, she is right on. So some of my shorts and some of my sound healing meditations, you can experience the sound frequency and how that can shift. I also have, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Instagram, I have the Reels, or on TikTok as well. Now, the shorts and the TikTok and the Reels are like 30 seconds to a minute. And I even listen to them. I listen to myself sometimes, and all of a sudden, it just shifts where I am. Now, I don't know exactly how this works, but because we just talked about the emotional guidance system, and that quantum leap when you're working with emotions doesn't really work, okay? You really need to just process each one vibrationally and get back up to positivity. But there's something about sound, and you can get to your highest self, your source self, just by a Did you feel that? I mean, I felt it. Now, it doesn't happen overnight. This is something that you want to cultivate and practice every day. So I meditate every day. And at the end of the meditation, I do a sound of where I am. I do a sound of my highest self, okay? And it becomes a marker, and it becomes a frequency that I can get to instantly just with making that sound. But you have to do the groundwork. You have to meditate and be willing to be your sovereign self. Because if you are not, and you are tuning into different frequencies of entities or guides or their spiritual energies, they might throw you off, okay? Because all those other energies have agendas and have a capped consciousness. So what you really want to practice is sovereignly connected to your source self, for you, by you, through you. And then you start getting this pure frequency that you are too, that you are, that you are, that you are. And when you use sound, it's like there isn't even a stream. You just become the vibration. So Abraham Hicks talks about, going upstream or paddling downstream, right? And that works when we're thinking about vibrational increments. But with voice, and I feel like this is why Chloe Goodchild talks about it being so quick with energy shift, is that you just, it just lands you right there. You just become the energy of your source self. And with that energy, when you are the energy of source self and you bring that more into your humanness, positivity isn't a trying thing. It's not something you have to try to do. Positivity just is a way. You automatically are patient. You automatically hold a broader perspective and let go of judgment. You automatically see a silver lining, okay? And if you notice yourself not being like that, just find alignment again with your higher self. And so this is kind of an advanced practice. It's for people that have been meditating a lot, who know what that source self feels like, and you can get there. And if you're noticing that when you make a tone, you can make a tone of om or oo or ah, that there's something else in there, that's really cool too, because you can feel, like just in my last tone, you can kind of feel the broad source frequency in that. But as you get to that space, you could also use the voice to shift frequencies, dense frequencies, anger, grief, negativity, hopelessness, frustration. So on your way to really becoming that clear source energy through your voice, you can clear all the dense energies by using your voice too. And it's a really interesting process. I did this a few years ago. I was just oming, and I thought I was in a positive mood, and I was like, yeah, I'm in a positive mood. I'm just gonna do my oming practice in the car on the way to the store. And I started to om, and I was like, what's in there? I could feel in the om that what was living here was not in alignment with the current mood I was in. So our subconscious can be holding some lower frequency stuff, baggage, past programming, thoughts, beliefs. So here we are creating a new belief system, which is awesome, good for you, creating a new belief system, but we still got the old one here. So you're not in alignment, right? There's discrepancy. So you got to work with this so this can be more of you. So this can take up more of the space of you. And this positive and happy mood can only stay so long when this subconscious density is acting up. And so what happens when, say, something doesn't go your way, or your kid triggers you, or your husband triggers you, or you get a bad bill, this old triggering and this old programming is going to pop up. And it's gonna run the show. And this positivity that you've been trying to have goes away, okay? Now, it's not until this gets aligned with your source self and all this density starts releasing, and this is part of the stages of the awakening process, and all this starts to release, then when you're in this inspired, positive mood, it's actually like, you're kind of beyond positivity when you are doing this kind of practice, okay? When you start releasing this density and you start just being the light of source through your body and out here, it's a very interesting process. If you look on the guidance scale, positivity is here, and then you have knowingness and ecstasy, and you start living more in these upper tiers of frequency in your awakening process. So this positivity is actually kind of a lower frequency as you go through your stages of awakening. So definitely take a look at the emotional guidance scale, because it's really powerful to take a look at kind of where you are in your awakening process. Now, it's not to say that you're not going to just play with all these different emotions, but the more you awaken and the more you fill yourself up with this sovereign source energy, the less you notice you go to these lower frequencies. And you usually just go to the top lower frequencies of emotions and rarely go to the bottom. And if you do, you know how to shift and kind of keep flowing. So guys, positivity can be exhausting, especially if you're in higher stages of awakening, because it's actually a lower frequency than you're used to. And if you're in the beginning stages of awakening and you're playing down here in frustration, overwhelmment, and negativity, and you're trying to be positive, that trying can be exhausting. So work yourself up incrementally, really work with the steps of the vibrations. Make sure you're meditating every day on your sovereign source self, and tone. Tone means just let out sound. Let out and sit with that in silence and see what awareness comes up. And it's a really powerful practice to start releasing dense energy so that you have more space for your sovereign self to just keep expanding through you, as you, for you. Is this making sense? So let me know in the comments how this is landing for you. How do you view positivity? Yeah, this could be another video, I think. I have a little bit more to say about this. But for now, see what happens with the emotional guidance scale and see what happens with using your voice, whether to make a marker for source energy so you can kind of be in your source energy automatically, or use your voice as a toning tool to move energy of density. Okay, if you don't want to do toning, you can use the emotional guidance scale with just different statements and thoughts. But personally, what I have found is that's a slower route, and actually sound and toning shifts things really quickly. But by all means, just try getting out of the habit of putting the happy face sticker on all the smoldering. Okay, we got to work through this first. All right, beautiful people, let's go back to the laboratory of life and work this out and have some fun doing it. Mwah.